Hello everybody, I'm Storm here. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Online Endwalker. In the last episode, we had our meeting with the forum to kind of go over what the state of the Great Exodus is, and confirm that they do, in fact, have a means of talking with Hydaelyn, and they do have a ship that they are building to try to ferry people to the moon. And the issue with the ship right now is that, not that it isn't complete, it's just that the engines aren't efficient enough to move the ship fast enough to make the number of trips they want to make to be able to save as many people as they are hoping to save. So, Alphino offered to provide assistance to solve the problem about a device that we know next to nothing about. And in exchange, if we were able to successfully do so, that the forum will let us talk to Hydaelyn, because we need to have a chat, and that the forum will allow us to make a proposal for an alternate use for the ship, which I guess that would depend on how our chat with Hydaelyn goes. So, we've been brought down to the lower levels of Labyrinthos and introduced to the engineer who's designing and building the ether burner, the main engine of the ship. And as it turns out, what he really needs to improve the efficiency of the engines is Allagan refined adamantite. And obviously a material of Allagan make that no one alive knows how to make any more of. And the only significant sources of said material are from Ragnarok class internment hulks that were part of Dalamud. So, we need people to go into the various shards of Dalamud and find the stuff. Now, if you ran Binding Coil of Bahamut, which I have not done on this character, but I have done on my other character, is that the shards of Dalamud are not exactly passive. They're full of very nasty things that were there to defend them from people doing the very thing that we're going to need to do. So we need people who are capable of, fighting their way into those shards. And they only have a limited number of gleaners who would even be capable of doing that, which is why they've been struggling to get what they need. So, Alphino called in some favors, and we've now mobilized the entire alliance and everybody that we know to go into whatever Dalamud shards we can get access to and get what we need, or locate any other Allagan relics that may be kicking around that might have what we need, or also obtain any of those sacred relic objects that are possessed of large quantities of ether that is the fuel, essentially, that we're going to be needing to feed to the engines. So, that is proceeding. And in the meantime, since we don't really have anything else to do, we're just offering our services to take care of whatever, while we wait for the adamantite and other materials to arrive. So obviously the name of the quest is No Job Too Small, so we're going to be doing odd jobs. Take it around. So, I came over here, attuned to that aetheryte. So we need to come over here and see what everyone's going to do. And as usual, we're going to chat with everybody first. Eorzea. Do my senses deceive me? In the shadow of yon corner, one can but hope this leadeth not to mischievous undertakings. What's up? Thancred. As surprised as I was to learn the Forum planned to send everyone to the moon, I can't imagine how the common folk must feel about it. Justinian. I don't mind a bit of heavy lifting, but I draw the line at paperwork. So much as wave a sheaf of documents at me and I'll put my lance through it. Alright, we have others who can take care of that. Alphino, that'll be your job. Alright. What a quaint little settlement this is. A shame it is hidden underground. Right? Alphino. In order to protect the secrets of the central circuit, the researchers must navigate a bewildering maze of paperwork before they are permitted to return to the surface. I suppose it's no different than any other aspect of Charlian society. We do love our bureaucracy. It's very much a mirror of the city above, which is perhaps how it came to be called Charlian Hamlet. Alright. Alice, from what I can tell, a lot of the people actually live down here. I don't know how much help we can offer, but I dare say they'll benefit from some of that fresh inspiration Scholark Martashane mentioned. Let's start by asking around, ideally without getting in anyone's way. Let's meet by the Aetheryte once our work is done. That's opened up some side quests, but we're not going to worry about those right now. Alright, let's see if we can find people that look like they need some help. Silken Grin, Oh, hello. Are you one of the new helpers? In a manner of speaking. Working on the ether burner? Oh dear, I hear things have come to a standstill on that front. Even so, I choose that over my current duties. Excuse me. Try that again. Even so, I choose that over my current duties, checking and loading samples day in, day out. It's tiring, thankless work. So no one will be cross if I misplace... no one will be cross if I misplace a few legumes or what have you. The Forum's got enough on their plate as it is, what with deciding who gets to board the Ark and when. A lot of powerful people have opinions about that. My heart goes out to Master Fortuno and the others. Hardly a moment's rest, I expect. Do they even have time to sleep? They probably need to get some sleep, or they'll all end up like the people at the Great Work, just passed out wherever. Steady current. Helping with the Ark, even with all the power Master Kokol's managed to squeeze out of the ether burner, it's still not enough, apparently. And now I hear the final days have arrived. Horrible creatures running rampant all over. If only we'd begun the exodus sooner. People are dying, and there will be no end of it if we don't fulfill our duties. But we will. We spent years preparing for this moment. Believe in the plan, and all will be well. Anyone kicking around over here? Yep. Baltasan? Offering to help. It's very kind, but I should be able to organize the rest of the documents by myself. It's mostly lists of the things we'll need once we arrive on the moon, and then whichever star we choose as our new home. My duties largely concern the maintenance of living conditions. This will be a lot busier after we depart. I hear that our lunar collaborators have come down to assist in our efforts. I'm looking forward to finally meeting them in person, after having communicated with them in such a limited capacity thus far. To be perfectly honest, I'm not even the slightest idea what they look like. I do hope they're not enormous looming giants, while I would much prefer something small and fluffy, like that beheaded rabbit that ran by. Well... Fortunately for you, you don't have to worry about that. Search for the beheaded rabbit. Ah, it's living way, and growing way, and cooking way, and singing way. Okay. Eorzea. It appears the Loporrits have infiltrated Sharlayan's most heavily guarded facility. How? I know not. They were probably let in. Growing way. Crikey, I wasn't expecting to see you here, Yami. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to say goodbye, and for having those other Loporrits attack you. Terrible misunderstanding that. Not to worry, though. As all have since recovered from the rather savage beating you administered, they bear you no ill will. Perhaps a little on account of the savagery, but time heals all wounds. Most, anyway. Alright, cooking way. How marvelous it is to see you again. You'll be pleased to hear I've learned much since our fascinating discussion at the Curatorium. It's all thanks to Eorzea. You see, he's taught me the finer points of cooking, which, despite my name, I knew very little about. So many dishes, so many hard-to-pronounce words. Actually, I was rather hoping he'd show me how to bake an Archon loaf. They're quite popular, I hear. Though it doesn't sound like it contains any flavor to speak of. Still, that's the sort of thing your kind enjoys. If that's the sort of thing your kind enjoys, I shall make enough to last the whole journey. Lovely. Alright, singing away. What joy to sample the delights of Aetheris. Okay, and living way. Fancy meeting you here, Yami. Our friends in the forum brought us to see their teeny tiny toy boat, which was quite impressive considering they didn't use any creation magics. What we're really interested in is Aetheris itself, though we now find ourselves in a sort of funny underground miniaturized version of it. Yeah, sound familiar? We were hoping the forum would give us a guided tour, but it appears they're rather preoccupied. Honestly, all that time to repair and they're still not ready. I suppose we'll just have to show ourselves around, or at least that's what we were planning to do until we chanced upon Eorzea and your good self. Since you're both dawdling about, engaging in idle chit-chat, perhaps you could show us a few points of interest? Won't that be fun? As, you know, something to do, I guess. Eorzea. Notora Labyrinthos. An unexpected yet prudent suggestion. Given the similarities betwixt this artificial environment and Bestway's burrow, 'twould be in our best interest to have the Loporrits acquaint themselves with those conditions deemed optimal by their Sharlayan collaborators. I fear, however, that continued reliance upon my limited knowledge would risk narrowing rather than broadening their perspectives. Mayhap thou art better suited to lead this venture? What a marvelous idea. Might we begin with that great big what's-it over yonder? Ah yes, the what's-it. I shall leave its explanation to Ayame. Oh boy. We're expected to give a tour of a facility we know nothing about? Oh. Alright. Singing away there. Eorzea. The Loporrits' technical expertise doth far outstrip our own. We would be wise to allow them to form their own conclusions as to the function of the various apparatus, rather than offer uninformed suppositions of our own. Unless, that is, unbeknownst to me, thou art possessed of surpassing knowledge concerning the construction and operation of advanced Sharlayan, what's-its. I don't know. Probably figured out. Living way? Considering singing way and growing way specialties, I expect them to pay full attention to your explanations, which I am sure will be most informative. Cooking way? It's all very intriguing, I'm sure, but where are the food preparation stations? The, what was your word for it? Kitchens? It reminds me, Puddingway, our newly appointed chief of pudding research, a discipline he himself founded after sampling Orianche's delights, has gone in search of Eorzea ultimate sweet treat. Well, provided it's a pudding. That's all he's ever talks about these days. Have you seen him? I think he might be kicking around somewhere. Growing way. My word, what magnificent architecture. Such immaculate curvature. I'll have to make several adjustments to my work if I want to match this degree of craftsmanship. I shall leave it no corner unrounded. Alright, slinging away. That's enough. Goodness me, to build something so large without creation magics is positively stupendous. Perhaps you could direct our attention to its most important features? Alright, search the apparatus for points of interest. If I had to guess, it is a pumping station of some description. Is that water I hear from inside that great big tube? It must be because of those cogs and that gigantic wheel at the top. Oh, I see. That's how they draw up the water. It's probably some sort of spiral-shaped mechanisms inside it, too. Yes, they would call that an auger, most likely. A mushroom-like thing. If this is a water pump, that's almost certainly a water tower. Excuse me. As I was attempting to say, this is a water tower. That looks like the trees in Greatest Endsvale. Hold on. That's a bit of a strange shape. It's thin at the bottom, but big and round at the top. Quite tall for something so unbalanced, too. That makes sense. That's where they store the water. Right. And you elevate it like that to maintain pressure in the system. And we have these tanks up here. It's a little hard to see from here, but is that a golden pipe connected to the top of those tanks? Yep. And I can see through that window another pipe at the bottom. This must be for purifying water drawn up from the below. A filtration system. Okay. If I were to hazard a guess, water drawn up from underground, presumably with some other mechanism, is purified here and stored in that tower before being distributed elsewhere. I'm right, aren't I? I knew it. Designed brilliant in simplicity, I dare say it would take only a moment to install it in even the harshest environments. For us Loporrits, that is. Indeed, securing a reliable source of water is of the utmost importance for any fledgling settlement. We've read, however, that peoples of Eorzea sometimes make their homes in arid deserts and such. How are they able to survive? Many settlements in Thanalan are built near oases. So wherever you choose to live, you're never far from water. Oh dear, I worry we won't be able to procure the necessary amount. We can provide enough water to keep them from drying out completely, but it would appear they rely on it far more than we'd anticipated. A few adjustments may be in order. Once we've calculated the average rate of consumption per individual, it may also be worth learning more about how exactly they obtain their water in the first place. Master Alphino spoke of the machinery responsible for that feat during our journey through Logisticon Alpha, did he not? Mayhap the Loporrits will share his appreciation for the engineering marvel. Oh yes, that sounds absolutely splendid. On this journey beyond the sanctuary of Charlene Hamlet, I shall lead the way. You mean we'll have to brave the untamed wilderness? A valid concern indeed. We could not help but notice the many dangerous-looking creatures with big, nasty teeth lurking beyond the safety safe confines of the settlement. Were we not escorted here by burly custodians, I dread to think what would have become of us. Regrettably, to many a hungry predator with the aforementioned big, nasty teeth, Loporrits may appear to be a potential and rather appetizing source of sustenance. Might I impose upon thee to assist in securing safe passage to Logisticon Alpha? For my part, I shall act as escort to Living Way and Cooking Way. I entrust Singing Way and Growing Way to thy care. Alright. Sounds like a plan. More valiant protector they could not wish for. Godspeed. If it's all the same to you, I'd rather not be eaten by some horrid beastie. Come along, Growing Way, to the water extraction, what's it? Alright, let's go see what they're up to. Alright. I have a feeling the way forward is not as clear as we'd like. Could you go and take a look? Yeah, that's fine. Singing Way. Perhaps you could tell the local beasties were not nearly as delicious as we might appear? Alright, let's remove this obstruction. Alright, that's out of the way. Thank you so much. I really hope this water extraction what's-it is worth these harrowing experiences. All part of the fun, some might say, but I'd rather not be burnt to a crisp if it's all the same to you. Okay, just on the other side of this wall. Alright. Any thoughts? Growing Way? It was all very exciting, but I'd rather not do it again. Wait, how exactly were we planning to head back later? Living Way? We've done well to see those two here safely. They can be a bit skittish at the best of times, so I'm pleasantly surprised they didn't run off and get themselves killed. And Cooking Way? Couldn't help noticing a distinct lack of carrots along the way, or many of the other vegetables I was expecting to see, though I did catch a glimpse of some sort of bipedal tomato charging about. Must be my imagination. No, you probably did. Singing Way. Well, let's get moving. That building looks nice and solid and safe. Alright. My friends, I bid you welcome to Logisticon Alpha. Our destination doth lie at the lift's top. Pray follow me. Alright. Up the lift. Cooking way. Forgive me for asking, but are we any closer to the kitchens? Come to think of it, why am I even here? Atmospheric manipulators are hardly my area of expertise. Living way. As I understand, places like Labyrinthos are the exception rather than the rule. You don't all build enormous underground living spaces like this, surely. No, we do not. Alright, going away. That was terrifying. But at least the scenery was more pleasant than was named Garlemald. As a first impression of Etheris, that was far from favorable. Anyway, onwards and upwards, quite literally, as is the case here. Riache. On this occasion, 'twould behoove us to seek the counsel of those qualified to describe the workings of the apparatus. They may also be in possession of schematics or other useful documentation, should the Loporrits request them. As the forum's esteemed guest, 'tis unlikely they would be refused, yet thou knowest as well as I the changeable dispositions of Charlian bureaucrats. Alright, singing way. Marvelous, simply marvelous. So this is where the magic, or science rather, takes place. The perfect environment to sustain life, artificially created. The knowledge we'll gain here will be essential when we start looking for new stars of your kind to inhabit. Apparently most of them don't even have air for you to breathe. You're all very lucky that Etheris just so happens to provide everything you need to thrive. Or did mankind turn out the way they are because of the available resources, I wonder? Either way, it's nothing short of miraculous, and I cannot wait to see more of it. Cooking way. This is all very wonderful, I'm sure, but I was rather hoping to learn more about your nourishment provision facilities. In other words, where is the food? I believe both the knowledge and consumables you seek will be found at Muriel Agronomics. As I imagine singing way and the others tend to study every conceivable facet of this apparatus, wouldst thou be so kind as to escort our visiting culinarian? Yes, that sounds much more interesting. Hopefully, I'll be able to see firsthand some of the delicious delicacies Oriange was telling me about. Even his incredibly vivid, if a bit too verbose, descriptions cannot compare to sampling them myself. Not to mention, Etheris will soon be no more, so I must learn all I can while there is still time. While there is still time. I was having a struggle with that. Let us brook no further delay. Alright, guess we're off for cooking way. It's just over the hill here. Alright. There's cooking way. This is the place, yes. The heady aroma was enough to guide me here, and I spotted several of the fruit and vegetables featured in our compendium. I really love to try some, but I read that those who help themselves to a farmer's crops without permission are often caught and put into pies. Perhaps you could ask whoever's in charge if they would be willing to part with a few samples? Alright, cooking way is now accompanying us. Alright. Jibke? What a fine mess this is. Ah, it's you, the one who climbed down the mine shaft. I'd show you around if I could, but I'm rushed off my feet preparing for the exodus. Not the only one. We've all got to find ways to do what we do down here up there. First on the moon, then on whatever star the forum decides will become our new home. Also sudden, so unreal. Don't you want to go to the moon? Well, it's better than waiting for the final days to claim us. But no matter how carefully it's all planned, we'll never be able to take every variety of flora and fauna with us. even the ones we can take may not survive in their new environment, so many species doomed to extinction. Sorry, that's not what you came to talk about, is it? Nothing quite so dire, I assure you. We merely wish to sample a little of your produce, if we may. By all means, help yourselves. Much appreciated, my good fellow. So, where to begin? Well, let's see what we got. Grapes. Oh, I know what these are. Grapes, yes? Let's see if they are as delicious as they look. So sweet, so sour, the taste is much like a ripe philosopher's carrot, and yet the texture is entirely different. The contrast between the outer skin and the fruit within is most peculiar, though far from unpleasant. Yes, I think I'll try another. Well, that's certainly given me food for thought, though in a far less visceral manner than any philosopher's carrot. But tell me, what is your opinion of the grapes? Well, I guess we'll go with I'd brave an erupting volcano for a choice bunch. I do enjoy grapes. Yes, they are rather Moorish, aren't they? And from what I've read, quite versatile too. Something about people stepping on them to make intoxicating beverages, as I recall. Anyway, that's enough about grapes for the time being. On to the next treat. Well, what do we have here? Some sort of citrus? Orange by name, orange by nature. Ah, oranges. What came first, the fruit or the color? Who cares? Let's eat. Yes, that's... Equal parts sweet and sour, as with the grapes, yet nothing alike. I may have to consult Eorzea about expanding my vocabulary. I simply cannot find the words to describe it. Perhaps what I'm looking for is bitter? This is all very complicated, you know. So many flavors, so many choices, and each individual with their own personal preferences. Now I see why you all turned your noses up at the idea of eating nothing but carrots. Marvelous though they still are in my estimation, let no one say I said otherwise. But speaking of carrots, I've yet to sample any of the vegetables. Let's see what's in that field over there. Ah, pumpkins. The color, the texture, are they some sort of enormous round carrots? Nope. No, in any case, proper nomenclature is less of a concern than the taste. Blech, it's so hard and flavorless, I may as well be chewing a piece of wood. That all but confirms it. These are nothing more than misbegotten failures masquerading as goodly carrots. Stop, stop, stop. Can't you see these are pumpkins? And no one with any sense would try eating them raw. You're supposed to cook them first. Do you not find it an awful bother? Far from it. Cooking is a joy unto itself. And what's more, it broadens the range of ingredients that we may safely eat. But above all else, cooking allows us to draw out the full potential of our produce. Pumpkin stew has been one of my favorite dishes for as long as I can remember. Partial to pumpkin bread myself. Then perhaps even these hard blocks of plant matter can become as delicious as the orange I sampled. I wonder, though, if there is anything even more delicious. How about that yellow fruit over yonder? I guess these would be lemons. Not a fan, personally. What a wondrous fragrance. With luck, it'll have a flavor to match. As I have no idea how these are eaten, I'll just bite into it. Yeah, biting straight into a lemon. I know there are some people that do that, but... Ew. My tongue, is this poison? A lemon? You mean it's supposed to taste like this? How can something so similar to an orange be so revolting? It may be some time before my palate recovers from this ordeal. As such, I had best call an end to this round of sampling. Let's say our farewells and return to the others. Finished, have you? I trust you found something to your liking? I'm rather enamored with the grapes and oranges, less so the pumpkin, though I learned the hard way that they're not to be eaten raw. Then there was a lemon, the deceiver. I still feel so violated. That first time, was it? I'd hate for you to leave with a bad taste in your mouth in more ways than one, so I'll give you this lemon muffin I baked. If this doesn't change your mind, nothing will. More lemon? Have I not suffered enough? Nevertheless, it would be remiss of me to spurn this opportunity to... bit of sick came up there. Learn more of your inscrutable ways. Very well. Lemon muffin, do your worst. Interesting noise. This is delicious. Though I still detect a hint of lemon, it complements the sweetness of the dough to create a perfect harmony. Never would have guessed its vile bitterness could be utilized so elegantly. My good chap, this is simply breathtaking. See, we rarely use lemon in its natural state, but it has a starring role in all sorts of recipes, and the same is true of many other ingredients. It comes down to making the most of the resources at our disposal, and sometimes that can even be the difference between life and death. I know we won't be able to make or take every species with us. No doubt the Forum agonized over what was worth preserving and what will be consigned to history. Hard choices, but make them we must if we're to survive. Such strength of will. Now I know what Hydaelyn sees in your kind. Mankind, the Loporrits, we were both born from the accumulated knowledge of the ancients. They learned all there is to learn about the nature of sentient life and the fates of the stars themselves. Once a civilization has fulfilled the basic requirements of survival, it will inevitably seek to eliminate all forms of negativity and achieve perfection. And therein lies its folly and its downfall. For perfection is an unattainable ideal. It is the paradox of the immaculate carrot. Its civilizations, since time immemorial, have deemed the pursuit of perfection as progress. They pay no heed to the costs incurred in their futile quest, and all too often become the architects of their own demise, their dreams forever unfulfilled. What then is the alternative? The answer lies in knowing that our existence can never be perfect. Be content with what we have and make the most of it. When life gives you lemons, make lemon muffins. Pardon my Eorzean, but what in the seven hells are you on about? And who are you, anyway? Cooking Way, at your service. I'm here to help prepare for the trip to the moon. And once you get there, you'll be able to try my carrots. I've been growing all different kinds. But don't worry, there'll be room for your crops too. We'll work together to preserve as many of Eorzea species as possible if you're up to the challenge. Yes, of course. I look forward to it. Well, this has all been highly productive. Probably. Let's go and see if Eorzea and the others have run out of machinery to inspect, shall we? Alright. Let's go see if everybody else is done. And not a far distance to travel here. Alright, let's check in with everybody. Eorzea? By Cooking Way's broad grin, I assume your excursion was a roaring success? For the most part. Growing Way? Oh, there you are. Have the others finished talking about rain-making whatsits yet? Living Way? Where have you and Cooking Way been? The two of you were engaged in pursuits of an educational nature. You should have taken me too. I am the leader, after all. And Singing Way. Not to rub it in, but we had the most fantastic time while you were away. Eorzea was able to obtain all manner of meteorological data for us to pore over. I'll be sure to put my newfound knowledge to good use once we return to the moon. My duty to make your journey as comfortable as possible, though there's no telling how long it will be. 100 years? 1,000? Probably closer to 5,000, give or take. Alright. Cooking Way. That was most enlightening, especially the part with the lemon muffin. Actually, I was wondering, do you know of any other places famed for their cuisine? Limsa Laminsa is home to the Culinarians Guild and many less than savory establishments. What did I had time to visit? The more I learn of Eorzea, the more I wish we could spare it from the final days. Alas, Highland's orders are to flee, not to resist. If only there was some other way. Eorzea appears to be telling the Loporrits in preparation for an imminent departure. Anyway, I trust thy time at Muriel Agronomics did bear fruit. Eorzea. Our own efforts, too, were rewarded. We now possess an embarrassment of educational riches. No doubt our guests' relentless pursuit of knowledge could occupy them and us for a fortnight. Alas, time is of the essence. Let us return to Charlene Hamlet forthwith. I shall gladly attend to each and every Loporrit there, should further questions within my power to answer arise. Okay. Aw. Okay. And we'll just teleport over. Alright, as usual, Eorzea. The Loporrits want for activities and stimulation, but I struggle to conceive of how to busy them whilst we wait. Living Way? Oh no, there was nowhere in particular I was hoping to go. I simply wish to see, hear, feel, and think as much as I possibly can while we're here. What does that look for? What did I say? Why did I not ask Jebke how to make carrot muffins? We could have had baked goods bursting with happiness. There's carrot cake. I do enjoy carrot cake. That was ever so delightful, and with this much information, I can fine-tune the moon's environs to your people's comfort. It's surprisingly tricky to estimate the appropriate temperature settings for being so lacking in fur. Alright, Growing Way. See, I mean, that was indeed me verbalizing a sigh to express my emotional state. You want to know why? Because I saw the reconstructed environmental data for Eorzea at Logisticon Alpha, that's why. The forest so lovely and so leafy. Are all of your forests like that? Pretty much. You should see the forest of the first. One was purple. Yeah, we'll go with that. Gasp. Gasp, I say. With a star so wonderful, it comes as no surprise that you're reluctant to leave it behind. I was a fool to think otherwise, to assume that the moon was something worth being proud of. How ridiculous it must seem to you, trying so hard yet achieving so little. Not at all. Thy works are no less worthy for their uniqueness. Thought I heard tiny voices. Ah, Thancred. How didst thou fare? Oh, I was able to glean a fair bit from the researchers while helping to move their cargo. Preparations have proceeded without interruption here, despite news of the coming end. We have the forum's leadership to thank for that. It doesn't mean people aren't worried, though. Quite the opposite. Knowing disaster could strike at any moment, they hurried to complete their work, especially aware that a single error could be the difference between life and death. And we can hardly tell them there's no cause for concern. Perhaps not. Though aided by our goodly growing way, we may yet find other ways to lighten their burden. Me, and be of use to people. I'm honored that you would think me so capable, but I'm not sure that I'm up to the challenge. Nevertheless, I believe in thee. If you say so, I suppose it can't hurt to try. But past someone moping in the western plaza that looked to be in need of a helping paw, perhaps you might start with him. This is as good a place as any. Come. Alrighty then. Oh. Does Thancred have anything to say? You best go with him. I don't think Eorzea misjudged him, but Growing Way does look like he used some emotional support. I still have work to complete elsewhere. I trust that I won't return to find any Loporrits in tears. Alright. Oh wait, is it up there? Alright, troubled researcher. Oh, can I help you? Actually, can we help you? It is you who would help me? Is my anxieties truly so obvious? A burden shared is a burden eased. Pray, tell us of thy troubles. Those little fellows do look like good listeners. I'm an engineer, you see, and what they say of the ship, that it's a sum of decades of Charlan ingenuity, that it's built with peerless, elegant technology, is all true, but I know that none of that's a guarantee. We've never before launched a starfaring vessel, let alone flown it in the great expanse. All the tests we've run have been on the ground. Only operational personnel and cargo will be aboard for the first voyage, but even so, if it fails us, then what can we do? And if it doesn't, it could fall apart on the next flight, or the one after that. We've done everything we can to prevent that from happening, but it hardly matters. We thought the Etherburner's design was flawless, too, and look how that turned out. Thou art familiar with these most daunting technologies, and thus dost thou hold the power to allay his fears. Oh, I'm not sure about that, but, well... Maybe you could tell me if there are any aspects of the ship's design that you're especially worried about? Our ability to walk about and perform our tasks, for one. I've devised a means by which to employ gravity, a spatio-temporal spell to regulate the environment, but what if it's not strong enough? What if everyone floats away and begins crashing into things as soon as we left the star? Ah, oops. I misclicked. Up there is also different from down here, you see. The same rules apply, and if you consider them as part of one great big cosmos rather than separate places, I suspect both parties shall find comfort in this conversation. Yet, if Thancred's tale be true, still others would benefit from insights born of experience. Might it prevail upon the Loporrits to attend them? An excellent idea, if I do say so myself. There is naught we'd like more than to ease the hearts of the fine people of Eorzea and learn more about them while we're at it. Full glad am I to hear it. Gather thy companions and bring them hither. Naomi, thou hast a gift for finding souls in need of succor. Pray seek thee out the distressed and the apprehensive, and inform them that help is at hand. I shall await them here, that I might introduce each to a suitable Loporrit. Alright. We'll do that. Oh, I do look forward to that. A place for every Loporrit and every Loporrit in their place. Alright, so we need to track down troubled souls in the Sharlayan hamlet. But I think we will get to that next episode. So we'll go ahead and stop here. So if you guys enjoyed it, thanks for watching. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.